Hello guys and welcome to a new episode of the Football Show. As today we're gonna make a video and talk about Supercoppa Italiana semi-final games, and also we're gonna talk about today's Premier League games. So let's get started. Let's start with the Supercoppa Italiana semi-final games. Napoli beat AC Milan 2-0 thanks to goals from David Neres and Rasmus Højlund. Very good win for Napoli. Considering Conte last couple of months, actually, he was quite grumpy about his team and his squad, and had some difficulties. Losing against Benfica, losing against Udinese. But this time Napoli bounced back. Very good win for Napoli. Very important win. I think they deserved to win. Defensively, they were very strong. They were organized, and going forward, they were clinical. They were happy to concede possession to AC Milan. AC Milan had more possession, but at the end of the day, Napoli were more clinical. So, they're more decisive in their attacking wise. Whereas AC Milan, they are a team where I think they missed something in their attack. They've got good players in attack, though. I'm not saying that they're terrible. They've got players like Christian Pulisic. Rafael Leao, though, was missing the game for AC Milan. I think he was a big miss for AC Milan, because without him, I don't think AC Milan have that much to hold on into the attack, because Pulisic is a good player, but I don't think he's that killer instinct up top. And Kunku is not a bad player, but is he consistently good enough? As he's shown, like for example at Chelsea and AC Milan, not in my opinion. So, I think AC Milan missed Rafael Leao. Leao is a very, very good player. Not only can score goals, he can make something happen. He can contribute. He can create. He's a quality player. And I think AC Milan missed him in this game. There was a moment in the game where Allegri was insulting the Napoli assistant manager. Allegri sometimes is a kind of a strange guy, but hope that insult wasn't it wasn't that too serious, let's say. So, but very important win for Napoli, considering they've had some struggles last two games. So for them to get back to winning ways and they go through to the final against the Supercoppa Italiana, the final is very, very important for them. And they'll play against Bologna, who beat Inter Milan on penalties 1-1. Congratulations to Bologna. I mean, Bologna, they've been a very good team in the last few years. They qualified for Champions League under Diego Motta, and then when he left, they adapted. They did qualify for Champions League, but they qualified for Europa League, and then they're in the 6th position, and they're doing very well. They're a very, very good team. And also they won the Italian Cup last season as well. So absolutely fantastic for Bologna. A great achievement for them to be in the final in the Supercoppa Italiana. Especially Bologna. They're a team in Italy who are let's say not a huge city. Like for example, AC Milan or not Milan or Juventus Torino or whatever, but they've done really, really well in the last few years. Being in Champions League, being Europa League, winning the Italian Cup, and now Supercoppa Italiana final, and they have a chance to win another trophy as well. So another great achievement for them. Well done, fantastic. Congratulations to them. But as for Inter Milan, I mean, it's quite disappointing because they were 1-0 up. They're also top of the Serie A, and they were 1-0 up, and you think okay, Inter should go on and win the game. But I would say, even despite Bologna scored from the penalty, I think Bologna played really, really well. I think they gave a good fight to Inter Milan. So it's not like Inter Milan were unlucky. They were creating lots of chances. I think for some part, periods, both teams had chances. Bologna could have won the game in normal time. Inter Milan could have won the game in normal time. So, but well done to Bologna. Congratulations. They deserve to win. No, I won't say they deserve to win, but they deserve to get rewarded for their efforts, let's say. So, because I thought defensively they could see some chances, but I think they coped well with having less possession than Inter. and going forward, they created very good chances. So, and they've got good players like Immobile as well, who's also an experienced player as well. So, yeah, well done to Bologna, and congratulations to them. For Inter, it's a bitter taste a little bit, but they've got other competitions to play for. They're still, the leading Serie A. They've got the Italian Cup. They've got the Champions League. So it's still a long season. And now the final will be between Bologna and Napoli, who I expect Napoli to win. They're the favourites. I expect them to win, but you never know in cup finals. You never know. Now let's move on to the Premier League. As Newcastle, you look at today's Premier League games: Newcastle United against Chelsea. Very tricky game for Chelsea, not easy. Going away to St James Park is not an easy game. Newcastle are told they can be very strong. Newcastle have had some problems, though, especially in the Premier League. Their form has not been that good. They've had some defeats. They've had some setbacks. Especially losing the last game in the Premier League to Sunderland, the derby. So, Eddie Howe has done a very, like I said before, I'll say again, Eddie Howe has done a very good job for Newcastle. But have they reached their limit, at Newcastle United, their level under Eddie Howe? Has he taken them as far as he can? And this season has shown that even though Eddie Howe has done a very good job for Newcastle in the past, can he take it to the next step? I don't think so. Because does he have the credentials and the level required to be at the best of the managers, to be required going up against, for example, against Pep Guardiola, or going up against, even though he's done a poor job this season, Arne Slot, who won the Premier League last season? Does he have the credentials? Does he have it in it to compete against Guardiola and those top managers to win the big competitions, and to fight for the big competitions? The answer is no. In my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, I've been thinking, and I've asked this question for a couple of weeks now, and the last weeks has shown that Newcastle, even though Eddie Howe has done a very good job, he's taken Newcastle as far as he can, in my opinion. So, yeah. But for Chelsea, obviously Enzo Maresca was asked there's some rumours, speculation about him replacing Pep Guardiola as Manchester City manager, but it's just rumours, it's just speculation. There's not much you can't say it's the truth, And he said, I will absolutely be the manager of Chelsea next season. My contract is until June 2029. This contract don't mean anything nowadays, but if Maresca says he's going to be the manager of Chelsea next season, okay, that's fine. However, with his recent outburst he had with the owners, does he, is he? Because I think I already said this on a YouTube channel where I said Maresca, he's not. I don't think he's going to be the manager of Chelsea from the start of next season, because this kind of things, outbursts with the clubs, doesn't usually end well. It doesn't usually end well. So, yeah, but I still don't think he'll be the manager of Chelsea from starting next season. But if he's that confident that he's going to be the manager of Chelsea for next season, then okay. But he has to make sure as well the results don't go against Chelsea, because if Chelsea, let's say, they don't qualify for the Champions League and they win nothing, then he could be in big trouble. So, yeah. But in this game, it's going to be a difficult game for Chelsea. Newcastle have to respond. They're at home. I'm going for a 2-2 draw in this game. Wolves against Brentford. I'm going for a 2-1 win for Brentford. Man City against West Ham. Man City should win. I'm going for a 3-0 win for Man City. Brighton against Sunderland. I'm going for a 2-2 draw. Bournemouth against Burnley. I'm going for 2-1 win for Bournemouth. Tottenham Hotspur against Liverpool. You could say the biggest game of all the games is today. Maybe except Newcastle against Chelsea, but Tottenham against Liverpool. Salah is going to the AFCON, so he's not going to play in this game for Liverpool. Liverpool, they've had two good games. They won against Inter Milan 1-0, and they won 2-0 against Brighton. They look better against Brighton. Against Inter, I don't think they were that brilliant, but against Brighton they look better. And it's a game that I think Liverpool, will be relishing to play against, because Tottenham, they're inconsistent. Defensively, they're very, very vulnerable. Going forward, they don't have much in them to convince how they're gonna scare the other big teams with the attack they have. Tottenham look inconsistent. I mean, they had two good wins. I think it was against Brentford at home and against Slavia Prague, and you think like, okay, that should give them a bit of a confidence boost. But normal service resumed against Nottingham Forest, where they got slapped in the face. So yeah, I mean, you look at Liverpool though; they are 10 points behind Arsenal, and listen, I don't expect Liverpool to win the league because with the way they've been playing this season, I don't think they have a chance to compete for the league, let alone winning the league. However, they've got good games coming up, which they should win. Even though they drew against Leeds and drew against Sunderland, where you should have expected Liverpool to beat them. They've got Tottenham away, which I think Liverpool should beat them. They beat them 6-3 last season, and I don't think this Tottenham team, as bad as Liverpool have been this season, I don't think this Tottenham team should scare Liverpool that much. I think with the firepower, with the quality that Liverpool have in the attack as well, I think they should beat Tottenham. So both defensively they can be vulnerable, but going forward, I think Liverpool, with the attacking power they have, I think is better than Tottenham for sure. So that's why I expect Liverpool to win this game. I'm going for 2-0 win for Liverpool. But you can look at the next games for Liverpool. Our games they should do well. They've got Tottenham away, they've got Wolves at home, they've got Leeds at home, even though they drew them. They've got Fulham away, they've got Arsenal. So they've got 4 games before Arsenal, which they should win. So it's a chance, even though they've had a poor season and they've won their last 2 games. It's a chance to keep that winning momentum, to build a bit of good confidence around Liverpool, around the team, especially just considering they have had a poor season. If they can win a couple of games on the bounce, I think they could be back on track. Not fight for the title, but they could be back on track. So yeah, but I expect them to beat Tottenham 2-0. So yeah. Next game, you've got Leeds United against Crystal Palace. I'm going for I go for a 2-2 draw. Final game, Everton against Arsenal. Well, Everton, I'm pretty sure they're going to make it difficult. They're going to, sit back and make it difficult for Arsenal. Arsenal should have a lot of possession. They're going to attack and they're going to try to cause problems for Everton. Everton's are going to defend and sit back and make it difficult for Arsenal. And they're going to have a lot of... Arsenal for sure will have something like 75% possession or 70% possession. But I expect Everton to sit back. So, but it's about taking chances. So I think Arsenal are going to have to cope with Everton's low block. And Arsenal, last games, their performances have not been their best. Winning against Wolves, but that wasn't a good performance. Losing against Aston Villa, drawing against Chelsea 10 men, and they were poor. In my opinion, they were not that good. And Everton, they're consistent, but they can turn up at any day. So they're at home as well, so the fans should give them a push. Arsenal will play against a team who will play with the low block, so can Arsenal cope with that? So yeah, it's not going to be an easy game. I expect Arsenal to win, but it's not going to be an easy game because Everton will play with a low block. They'll sit back, make it difficult for Arsenal as much as they can, and they're going to try to be organized defensively as you would expect from a David Moyes side. So yeah, my score prediction, I'm going for a 1-0 win for Arsenal. That's it, guys. Thank you. I wish you have a nice day. See you next time, and goodbye.